What's going down, everybody? D-Dub here, back with another video. It's been a minute, but today we are here talking about Monster World 4. Alright, they released a trailer just the other day, and they're not calling it Monster World, they're calling it Monster Boy. So this is part of the Wonder Boy series, and the original game came out in, what, 1991? 92 for the Sega Genesis, and we have this new trailer here that dropped. Monster Boy Asha in Monster World. Basically Wonder Boy 4. Weird how it goes from Wonder Boy to Monster World, and then there's also the newer game that was out on the Switch, I think also Xbox, the Monster Boy in Wonderland. See, Monster Boy Land World. Monster World, Monster Boy, Wonder Boy, Wonderland, Wonder World, Wonder Monster. A whole bunch of different games. Anyways, here we have this trailer, and came out just a couple days ago from Gamescom 2020, and looking at the trailer, I honestly don't think that it looks that bad, but that's just one person's opinion. You go down to the comments and there's not a lot of happy people. This is a game that's going to be coming to Nintendo Switch and PS4. The original game, 2D side-scrolling, beautiful sprite work, beautiful backgrounds, cartoony, nice color palette, a lot of pastel type of colors, but just your typical side-scrolling action game. You run around, you go back and forth, you collect different things. It's kind of like, you go into buildings and stuff, you talk to people, you kind of come back and forth, you power up, you have a sword, you have a shield. It's a Zelda-like, maybe like a Zelda 2 type of game. Anyways, the game's good, highly loved and highly regarded. I never played it back in the day. I've been playing it on the Sega Genesis Mini, and since I didn't grow up with the game, I really don't have an attachment to it. Many do, though, and those seem to be the people that like this game and the looks of it the least. People say that's not even just the fact that it's 3D, it's poor looking 3D. The resolution and the animation is just, I've seen, a couple other games. Yeah, okay, so when the 1994 game looks better than the 2020 game by a wide margin, that's what one man has to say. As a big Wonder Boy fan, I'm extremely disappointed to see a half-assed 2.5D remake of one of the most beautiful games on the Sega Genesis, and how they ruined all the animations of Asha. And then somebody else got quite a few likes going, oh wow, a demake of the original. And in the original game, you can see these animations here, the way that Asha, the main character, the way she walks, she always swung her hands. And it's sprite work versus this new kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really seem hand-drawn, but I'm not an artist, so sometimes I see stuff like this and I say, it's hand-drawn. Then you had the Monster Boy game that just came out last year, and that's all hand-drawn, but it's kind of hard to tell because it's hand-drawn animation. Sometimes the line blurs between computer and actual hand-drawn, but you can see in the trailer here when they show, the old school versus the new school, and sure, it's a remake. I don't think it necessarily needs to exist. The art style I don't think is that bad. I don't know exactly what people are so torn up by. It seems to be a pretty faithful recreation. Now, when they did the Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap remake, that was all hand-drawn, and I think it's definitely different. This is more 3D, but it kind of does have that feel of like a lot of newer games. Some people are saying this looks like a cheap mobile game, and I don't think that's the case. It seems pretty faithful to all the original environments. All the original backgrounds seem to be pretty much on par here, and overall I think it looks okay. Is it going to be better than the original? Probably not, because it's a game from 26 years ago that's being remade that we're talking about here, and we're going from sprite work to this 2.5D animation, and of course the original had parallax scrolling, so it does seem pretty faithful, but is it needed? That's basically the whole thing here. People seem to just be mad at the animations of Asha, the way that she walks. I watched one video, the guy said just the way that she swings her arms, the way her chin looks, and I mean, when you look at the original sprite, they're kind of these short, wide, fat, weird, cartoony sprites, and that's not indicative of real life or the way a real character model would look. So then when you're putting this game into a 2.5D, with 3D rendered backgrounds, it just, I guess, doesn't translate the same. I don't think it looks that bad. It kind of looks like Shantae just the way that she's drawn, the main character. Of course, she's probably a little bit inspired from here. Others say otherwise, but it has a similar kind of art style to it, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. This is a great game to be pulling inspiration from, but everybody's mad about the animations, the way that it looks, the way that Asha looks. Not only do the graphics look cheap, but the music throughout this trailer made my ears bleed. Yikes, hype went from 100% to 1% with this trailer. My worst fears came true. The official remake looks worse than the indie ones. Remember when sprites were crap and everybody wanted 3D? We're at the opposite right now. Yes, exactly. But everybody seems to want this game to be delayed for them to work on it. I don't know, change the graphics, change the polish on it, change the environments, change the color. They seem to just not like this game, and I guess people are wanting, kind of like with Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, where that game got pushed back, the original trailer dropped, and people kind of said, this isn't what I signed up for with this Kickstarter. And they dropped the original trailer, then later on, they switched the game, they changed it, they added more detail in the background, they changed a little bit of the art style itself, colors, outlines, all that kind of thing, and then when they put out the trailer, they showed a side-by-side, showing here's what we did, here's how it's different. And that seemed to win people over. That seemed to be exactly what people wanted. And for the most part, people seemed like they were happy with the final product. But at least that was an original game. This here is going to be a remake, or I guess they call it a remaster. But it's really just a redo. It's not even like a reimagining. Really a remaster. Typically, at least up until now, a remaster is going back to the source material, making it somehow look better using, I guess, the original source. These words have gotten skewed over time, so this is, it's a remake, but it's faithful to the point. It's not a reimagining. Doesn't seem like there's going to be any extra content, any extra flavor added into the game. So that doesn't seem to be the problem that people have. They just want it to look different. I guess for the most part, it seems like people are still interested in this game. Happy Console Gamer, he put his video out, and I haven't been paying too close attention to the smaller types of games that have been coming out. And so to hear that this game was coming out, I thought, hey, that's pretty cool, because I'm a fan of the original. I like Wonder Boy to a T. I'm not the hugest fan. I do have Monster Boy for Nintendo Switch, and that game's really good. It's a really great game. There's one other comment here that says they've seen student work better than this. They said the music's so bland. The frame rates make me vomit. Also, look at the side-by-side comparison. Is it just me or the original looks better? SMH, shaking my hand. Anyways, extremely disappointed. That's what these people are saying. Looks like hot garbage. And my take on it, I don't know, hot take incoming, but it's really that this game doesn't need to exist. Like, you have the opening credits here. But basically, the main offense here to me is that this game doesn't need to exist. The problem is that if enough people don't like this game, they don't like the style, they're not going to buy it, they're not going to play it. Some people might buy the physical just for the nostalgia of it, which is basically what all of gaming is right now for anybody that's probably between the age of 25 to 40 and older if you followed games back in the 90s. But it's becoming this thing where it's oversaturating. All these old games, they're getting remakes, they're getting remasters, they're getting reimaginings, and some of them are pretty shite, honestly. And I think this game will be no different. Like I said, I don't really have a big problem with this overall. This game doesn't really make me excited to want to play it. It just more so makes me want to play the original, and I don't see the need for this game's remake to actually exist. What I think a lot of people are saying is that they just want something different changed about the game, and it doesn't seem that they know exactly what they're looking for. They just think that this game is hot trash, and as this game is set to be coming out Q1 for 2021, it doesn't seem like a lot of time, 6 months max, to kind of go back to the drawing board and change whatever the problem is. Now, I'm imagining by the end of this year, maybe even in just a couple weeks, since people are talking about this game, maybe they straight up come out and say, hey, we're going to delay it. Maybe they put more money into it. Maybe they just tweak it a little bit. I don't think people are going to be happy with the final product almost no matter what. And that, again, I think comes down to the problem of this game and it's Remake just not needing to exist really whatsoever. And that's my take on it. I haven't seen anybody else in the comments say that. They've all said the original looks better and that this looks like trash, but for the most part, people were excited for this, and now they're saying otherwise. Whereas my stance on it is this game doesn't even need to exist. Why spend the money, make it 2.5D, have nobody buy it? People say, oh, I'll wait for a sale. It goes on the eShop, goes on PS4. It comes out, people talk about it for 2 days, and then it fades into obscurity, maybe never even seeing a physical release for all we know, versus what they should do, and what I would recommend, is just stop doing these 2.5D remakes. Instead, for a game like this, which I'm sure a lot of people don't even know, but before you do the remake, you should probably do like the Trials of Mana, which is put the original out. Just do a basic re-release, or if there's any source code left from the original game, go back, go to the source, see if there's any extra content, any cut characters, worlds, sprite work, background work, character designs, artwork, leftover music, all that cutting room floor stuff. You put that into like an online gallery archive, and you really celebrate what the original game is about by doing a re-release. Now, whether you let limited run games do their physical version, or whether there's no physical version, or it's just on Amazon or whatever, whoever publishes it, however you put it out, even if it's digital only, this is a way for people to see the original game. Then you wait a while, before you actually just bring a 2.5D remake of an old 2D side scroller that had great sprite work and just kind of push it out, because I think this game is just gonna flop when you have somebody like Happy Console Gamer saying he's not happy with the way that the trailer's looking. You know something's off with it, and I'm not sure. He said he couldn't quite put his finger on it, but he would like to see something different, maybe the animations, the color, something about it was just off, and that basically seems to be the consensus. And I'm of the mindset of, like I just said a minute ago, where the current state of any type of retro gaming is basically aimed at anybody from like 25 and onward. If you grew up in the 90s, even the mid to late 2000s, 10, 12, 15, 20 years ago, all these games are now being brought back to the surface. And some of them just don't need to exist. People, for the longest time, they want an Earthbound remake, they want a Link to the Past remake, they want a Final Fantasy VI remake, they want a Chrono Trigger remake. Those games are already perfect. Why do you need to go back, take the 2D away, and then put out something like this when you know it's not going to be as great as the original? Sure, it doesn't take away from the original, but all it does is, if a game like this sells poorly, it shows the people who run these things, these studios, these companies, who are the people that are in charge of publishing or owning the rights to these IPs, these great games that have been dormant for 20, 25, 35 years, that there's no place in the market for it today. And it has nothing to do with that. The way that you determine the market is by putting out Monster World 4, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, do a physical, make a booklet for it. It shouldn't have to be limited run games or super rare games or strictly limited, all these, small limited groups. It shouldn't be on them to always have to take these retro games, which there is a huge market for, to do a decent physical edition. If I was Nintendo, I would be opening a smaller studio or a smaller team, development team, publishing team, whatever, buying another publishing team to basically put some money in to put out smaller releases like this that are quality, that have a booklet. Call it, Nintendo Retro. I honestly think that's the way to go with some of these games like this, and a game like Monster World 4. I think they should just re-release it, see if they can find any old content, maybe the source code, maybe there's nothing extra in there. If not, then you kind of scrap the gallery, put it up on the eShop, and then let the market decide. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Personally, I'm kind of, but I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think, or let me know on Twitter. As always, follow me on Twitter. The link is down below. But I think it's kind of sad to see the state of gaming, because you can already tell a game like this, if they don't delay it, if they don't change anything, it's just going to flop. And then it doesn't help the Wonder Boy series. It doesn't help the character Asha. It doesn't help Monster World 4. It's just another blemish, and it really does nothing for the franchise as a whole. If it's not boosting sales, if it's not generating money, then it makes it look like there's no place in the market for the Wonder Boy or the Monster Boy or the Monster World series. So I don't know, that's just my take on it. This video is a wrap. It's been a bit, but videos will be coming soon. I know it's been a little bit. D-Dub has kind of lazed out on the YouTube, but there are more videos to come, so stay tuned. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. If you like the video, hit the like button, but just leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the trailer. I'm going to have it looping, so you'll be able to see it. What do you guys think of this game? Personally, I don't think it needs to exist, but that's just me. Alright guys, this is D-Dub saying peace out. Thanks for watching. Much love.